The Awakened faction is so much fun to play. There are so many cool combos you can start doing with the Awakened. The War for the Obelisk added a new type called factions, which are these right here. And essentially, anytime that you play a legend card that is associated with the faction, you then get to place a counter on it. I normally represent a die to put on here to start counting up, but anytime you play an Awakened Legend card, you get to add one to the counter. And once there's 5 on here, you then can start using the ability. It has the following effect. Once per turn, whenever you exhume a legend in your discard, you may play that card. Okay, so the Awakened are all about burying and exhuming. So this Grumpy Mummy here is a level 1, and it says bury the top card of your deck, then exhume up to 1 card in your discard. When this card is sent to the discard, you get to bury it. So let's talk about a few rules here. So burying means you take a card and you put it face down in your discard. So if this is your discard pile, let's just add some cards here. If this is your discard pile, you then get to bury a card from your deck. So the top card of your deck gets buried. It goes to your discard face down. You can either put it in your discard like this, or I kind of put it off to the side so I know what buried cards are in my discard and able to find them easier. Because after you bury 1 card, you then get to exhume up to 1 card. So exhuming means you take your buried pile, which is your face down discard, and exhuming means you get to flip one of them face up. So in this case, I look at my buried pile. I have 1 card. It's another Grumpy Mummy, so I get to exhume 1. So I then can put my buried Grumpy Mummy, exhume it, and it goes face up into my discard. And then the Awakened faction also has another effect. It's the top effect here. This says when this card is exhumed, you deal 1 damage to your opponent's Neopet. So I get to deal 1 damage to my opponent's Neopet because I exhumed this card. And then finally, with the one that you played, when this card is sent to the discard, you bury it. So then I'll take this card and I will bury it. So as you can see, there's a lot of really, really cool combos happening, which is crazy. If you love comboing, you're going to love the Awakened. They are absolutely so much fun. But with that, let's get into the deck profile. For our basic pets, we have a yellow Gellert, yellow Jub, yellow Scorchio, blue Cow, and a blue Mohawk. To be honest, all the games that I played, the Mohawk I've never used once. Because this deck is all about the Awakened factions, once it gets sent to the discard, you get to bury it. I was initially thinking Dargon for sure. Dargon is like so overpowered. Like it's crazy. So the Dargon pets say during your preparation phase, you may discard 2 cards to draw 3. It's crazy. It's such a good card to start having draw power with without actually playing 1 of your cards per turn. So Dargon, it came out in Champions Mirrodale, and it is it's a great ability. It's in almost every deck that I play now. Like, it's too strong. It's so strong. I was thinking maybe play Ghost. I haven't tried it with Ghost yet. I actually been having a lot of fun with the Shadow Pets. These Shadow Pets are actually really, really strong. So the Shadow Pets say during your preparation phase, you may have your Neopet enter the shadows. You can only use this effect once per round, which means if I have a Shadow Gellert out and I go into the shadows, I can't use it again with Gellert. But in my next round, if I do a Scorchio and I have my Shadow Scorchio out, I can use it with Shadow Scorchio. So round basically means per Neopet. And yeah, this is crazy. The amount of times that I would start Gellert, have a Shadow Brush in my hand, turn 1, you go into the shadows. So how the shadows work is there's no way to indicate that you are in the shadows. I'm kind of adopting what Pokemon does where they like turn their cards sideways. So whenever I go into the shadows, I turn my card sideways. And what the shadow means is during your prep phase, that's when you can use this ability. You go into the shadows. Your battle phase happens, but you cannot attack. Your opponent goes, they go through all their phases, and then once the battle phase happens, they still go through it, but they cannot attack your Neopet. So you go one whole round without attacking or being attacked. Then, on your turn, you come out of the shadows, and during your battle phase, any amount of damage you deal to your opponent is doubled. I have done 8 damage with Gellert on turn 2. It is bonkers. It's so good. And that's the reason why I play Cow. I think Cow is an incredible pet. It has high attack and high agility as well if you're playing it early. I normally play Cow if I have a Shadow Brush in my hand and if it's a brand new round. Like it's my first turn. On my first turn on a new round, I'm playing this guy. But I'm not playing him round 1. Normally, so how I would play it, I would play Gellert round 1. And then, depending on if I won or lost, if I won, I'm going Cow if I have a Shadow Brush in hand. I'm going Cow, I'm trying to win quickly. Boom, get it over with. If I didn't, I'll run either Jub or Scorchio. I'm trying to, if I don't have a brush, I'm trying to find a brush. So I'm trying to stall as long as possible, but still trying to be effective with my cards, with my legends that I'm playing, with my factions, all of that. So I want a high HP Neopet. The bad thing about shadows is there is a counter. So let's say I have my Shadow Gellert out. I go into these shadows. Let's say I'm going up against Mohawk. They paint themselves shadow. Well, they go into the shadow as well, which means they aren't attacking on their battle phase. Goes to my turn. I exit shadows. Well, guess what? They're still in the shadow, so I can't attack them. So my opponent goes, they come out of the shadow, they can attack me now. So you almost kind of wasted the Shadow Brush ability. So it's kind of like, you do kind of want to be careful when you play it, but also, unless there's a way to know what your opponent has in their inventory, you might just YOLO and just send it anyway. But yeah, these are my pets. Again, Mohawk, I have not used Mohawk, so I'm not too sure if I would keep him, but at the same time, I don't actually know what to get rid of. I also could see this deck not doing the shadow pets and trying the ghost. But as of right now, I think shadows are too OP to not get rid of them. So this is my Neopets. All right, we are starting off with our code stones. So we have 3 attacking code stones. I'm using the EOs, but they can be any attacking code stones. Next, I'm playing 13 agility code stones. Again, these can be any mixture of agility code stones. So as you can tell, I'm using some Breeze, Tai-Kais, Zays, all from different sets. You can mix and match however you want with the code stones, which is nice. The code stones are in your deck. Maybe I should have said this at the beginning. Things that are not in your deck. So you have your basic Neopets, right? Your basic Neopets, they're in their own separate pile. Then you have your Rainbow Pool Neopets. These are in their own separate pile. You also have other cards that are going into your Rainbow Pool. So your Awakened will go in your faction card. It doesn't have to be the Awakened card, but the faction card will go into the Rainbow Pool, as well as location cards. Well, the two that have been released so far. The Obelisk will go into your Rainbow Pool as well. So whenever you play your first legend, you will then bring out your faction card. This goes anywhere on the board. Honestly, I don't want to forget to use this, so putting it next to your discard pile, anytime you play an Awakened card, add a token, that's great. I have been putting it next to my Rainbow Pool as well, but sometimes I feel like because I'm focused over here where my discard is, sometimes I'm like, did I forget? So if you don't want to forget, put it next to your discard pile. I don't think there's really any spot this has to go. But this also is not considered to be in the Battledome as well. So it cannot be targeted, can't be stolen, can't be conned, any of that. The other one that's going to go in there is the Obelisk. This will get flipped over when you have 10 Allegiant counters on your faction card. All right, so now that I explained where these cards are going, these are not counting towards your 50 card deck. They're not going in there. When you go to build a deck online on the Upper Deck website, these might be in your 50 card pool, in your 50 card deck. Ignore it. These do not count, even if they're on that section for the website. So I think I explained the Awakened faction. So it says you have pledged your allegiance to the Awakened. Whenever you play an Awakened legend, add 1 Allegiant counter to this card. So again, you can use whatever. You can use little tokens, you can use dice, counting up, whatever, just to indicate that you are, anytime you play a legend, you're adding it. Now notice I say the word play, because if you play an Awakened and someone negates it somehow with an acorn or potato or any other way that they negate it, you still played that card, which means this counter still goes up. So it still goes to the discard or wherever it has to go, but you still played it, so you still get the counter for it. Then this says, as long as this faction has 5 or more Allegiant counters, it has the following effect. Once per turn, whenever you exhume a legend in your discard, you may play it. So remember how the buried cards are face down. If you exhume, it's face up. So once you exhume cards, if you have 5 or more Allegiant counters, you can play one of the cards that you just exhumed, which is crazy cool. Again, the combos are nuts in this game. And then we have our location, the Obelisk. So this says this card starts in your Rainbow Pool. When your faction has 10 Allegiance, you may play this card. So again, it'll be in your Rainbow Pool. When you have 10 Allegiant counters on here, you get to play the Obelisk. This says during your preparation phase, you may remove 10 Allegiant counters from your faction. You win the round. If this has 10 Allegiant counters on it, you can then remove it during your prep phase and win. It's crazy. It's so crazy. There's not a lot of factions that will probably do this, but the Awakened I think is definitely possible. So once you win the round with this, the card says, then this card gains the following effect. During your preparation phase, foresee 2, then draw 1. So foresee is, here's your deck, you're foreseeing, which means you're looking at the top 2 cards. You're not revealing, so your opponent does not know what these cards are. You get to look at them, and you get to foresee 2. So you're looking at 2 of them. Foresee means you can take them and put them back to the top or the bottom of your deck in any order. So you're doing that to both these cards. So if you're like, man, I really need to draw more cards with greed, but this is a really good card too, you can put both of them back on top of your deck. And then after you foresee, you get to draw 1. So then you will draw 1 card. So that's crazy. That's pretty cool. I would imagine that by the time you do this, the game might already be over once you win the round with the Obelisk. So you might not even be able to do the 4C part, but it's cool that it's in here just in case. So we have the Awakened, the Obelisk. Next we have our brushes. So we are playing 4 brushes. We're doing 2 shadow brushes and 2 Darrigan brushes. You really want to see your brushes in this game. The painted abilities are incredible. They also boost your Neopets stats as well, so you really want to get a brush out as quickly as possible. Our only fairy that we're playing is Celia. She's great in this format. So she says once per turn, whenever you would add 1 or more cards to your inventory, you may play one of those cards. So with Celia, she loves pets. At least in the card game she does, because I'll show you one right now. Ganthor says fetch 1 card with Darrigan in its name from your deck. So the word fetch means you go through whatever zone it's asking, right? So this says your deck. Going through your deck, finding a paintbrush, and you add it. So fetch means Ganthor is going to your deck, and you're adding whatever card to your inventory. With Celia, you can automatically play it. So it combos really, really well with our pets. So we're using Ganthor. We're using Ganthor. Erisim, this says fetch 1 card with quotes, deal blank damage to your opponent's Neopet, end quote, in this card effect from your deck. And guess what? Every single Awakened card has that text in it. So this Erisim lets you be able to fetch all of your Awakened cards. So good. Another one that will do that is the new pet, Toothy Grid. He's so cute. Oh my gosh, I love Toothy Grin so much. His ability says, fetch 1 legend from your deck whose team matches a faction you have pledged your allegiance to. So if you have not taken out your Awakened card, your Awakened faction, his ability doesn't activate because you don't actually have your faction out. You need your faction visible in order for you to utilize Toothy Grin's ability. Next, we have our 1 card that is limited to 1. So that was a weird way of saying it. But this card recently got limited to 1 because it's broken in this deck. So it has the 2 effects. The first one is this card is in your discard. You may bury it. If you do, target 1 legend in your discard, add it to your inventory, and you'll see the word add, which again works with Celia, so you're able to play it right away. Then it says, there's a line here, which means you do one of the following depending on whether you're playing it, which is the bottom part, or if it's already in your discard. If you're playing it from your inventory, you target 1 legend in your discard, play it. Then bury this card. When the card played this way goes to your discard, you bury that as well, which is fine because you're probably picking your Awakened legends, which automatically get buried anyway, so that one's great. Our draw power is one of the new Oracle cards called Greed. He's great. So you draw 3 cards, and then your Neopet takes 1 damage. So the 1 damage does suck, but he's a level 1 draw 3 bonkers. Bonkers. But we are still keeping our Alton in here. This is the rolling the dice one. And depending on what you roll, that's how many cards you'll draw. Both those are great. Combined with your Darrigan pet, you're able to draw 3 every turn. You don't need much draw power besides, I think, what we have here, because again, your Darrigan pet will do that for you. Mr. Scary. Wow. Okay, so he's kind of OP. Like, he's so good in these faction decks. Because you're trying to find ways to as always, thin your deck out, play more cards than just your 1 card per turn. He is great for that. So you're probably never do the top part of the card. So his bottom part of the card says, search your deck for 1 card with a level requirement equal to your Neopets level and play that card. So he's a 2. So he will fetch whatever your Neopet level is, starting at level 2 whenever you play him. He's great to find out a faction or any other card, really. He's just a great searcher. He's like the Nilo, but not, right? He's just a different kind of searcher, which I think is pretty necessary in these decks. A cool card you can search for with Mr. Scurry at level 2 is Count Boris. So he is also limited to 1. He is bonkers. He says target 1, so it's 2 effects here, right? So the top part says target 1 legend in your discard with a level requirement of 1, play that card. Nice, right? Again, the more cards you can play per turn, fantastic. That's how we do these crazy cool combos. But the bottom part of this card says, if your Neopet is level 4 or higher, do the following instead. Target any number of cards in your discard with the combined level requirement equal to or less than your Neopet's level. Play those cards. This is where you can start comboing all of your Awakened factions like crazy. And notice how it says you need to play cards with a level requirement equal to or less than your Neopet, which means anything without a level requirement, the pets, brushes, code stones, do not count. So you cannot look and grab for those cards. It has to be with a physical number printed on it. But man, oh man, you can play him at level 2 or 3 to just grab a level 1 card, right? Play it. Or you can wait until you're level 4 to get the even better effect. Count Boris, bonkers, so good. A card that, I don't know, it's kind of fun when it works, but I don't know how often it's going to work. We have Death. Death is in here. It's level 4, and it says bury all cards in each player's discard. So again, everyone's face-up discard. If you play your Death, both players will bury all of their cards, which is nice for you, right? You love when your cards are buried, but it also really disrupts your opponent. Like, they aren't able to combo and use their discard. They can't use Jadora. They can't do a lot of things. And it also stops your opponent from stealing cards from your discard because buried cards cannot be targeted. So if your opponent plays the level 4 legend, level 4 thieves, or level 5 thieves to steal a card from your discard, they can't because you have no face up discard. Everything you have in your discard is face down, it's buried, can't use it. It's great. But I don't know, he's just a fun little tech, right? Again, when it works, it works. This combo is with another card too that I'll explain in a bit. On to our equipment. Again, they are limited for a reason because they are so powerful. Dargan's Orb. It's a level 1. If you don't know what this says during your preparation phase, you may search your deck for 1 card with a level requirement equal to or less than your Neopets level. Again, just like Count Boris, you cannot find the cards with no level requirement, brushes, pets, code stones, you can't find that. It has to be a printed number. After you search your deck and find a card with level requirement equal to or less than a Neopet, play that card or add it to your inventory. You're probably gonna play it though. But you might want to add it, who knows? Then your Neopet takes damage equal to that card's level requirement. So if you play him level 1, guess what? You can search your deck for a level 1 draw card, right? but you will be taking 1 damage. If you're level 2, you can search for any level 2 or level 1, play them, but you have to take damage based off of what the card's level is. So level 2, you're taking 2 damage, level 1, taking 1 damage. So it's still broken. It's still such a great card. It's so good. Another new card that works with the faction Awakened is the Rejuvenating Jar of Brains. It's only level 2, and it says during your preparation phase, you may exhume 1 card in your discard. Add that card to your inventory. Again, we have the word add, which works with Celia. So you can then choose one of your Awakened Legend cards that's in your discard. You exhume it. Because an Awakened Legend, you get to deal damage to your opponent. Add it to your inventory. If you have not played a card for turn, you get to play that legend right back. It's cool. I like this a lot. Onto my food. We have the two ghostly hot dogs. Being able to discard a card to add a card to your inventory is great. Again, there's a lot of cards that interact with your discard anyway, so it's fine if you discard a ghostly hot dog. There's many ways in here to get those cards back. The next food is the petrified cake, only playing 1 of. This says bury 1 card in either player's discard. So it could be your discard or your opponent's discard. Then exhume up to 1 card in your discard. So again, exhume, put it face up, boom. If that's an Awakened faction, you have to deal damage to your opponent. If not, you have a card face up. Again, I think this is really good, but I'm only playing 1 of it in here. The next 2 are faction cards, but they are not the Awakened faction. They are the Thieves. Being able to steal your opponent's cards is so powerful. So powerful. Like, holy cow. It's crazy. And these games want to play longer. The Thieves Guild wants the rounds to go longer to steal more cards. So you kind of are, the games that I've been playing, I'm noticing that we are actually able to get to level 4, to get to level 5 quicker than before. I don't know if quicker is the right word, but it just feels like the format is a little bit longer than we had before. So, Shady Prowler, you get to choose 1 or more of the following in any order. So, you steal a top card of your opponent's deck. Steal 1 card from your opponent's discard. Randomly steal 1 card from your opponent's inventory. Then steal 1 card from your opponent's side of the Battledome. So, this card is crazy. So stealing, another new keyword. I'm loving all the new keywords we have. This is great. Keep it up. So stealing is kind of what you expected, right? So steal the top card of your opponent's deck. Your opponent, you grab the top card of your deck. Let's say this is their deck. You steal the top card. So how that will work is these stolen cards are going into another separate pile. These cards are not in your inventory. They're not on your discard. They're not in the Battledome. They are its own separate stolen pile, which means your stolen cards, kind of like your cards that are exhumed in your discard, are safe. These cannot be interacted with, which is both good and bad. If you're playing the Thieves Guild, good. If you're not playing the Thieves Guild, bad, because there's no way to get these cards back unless your opponent plays these cards. So bonkers, so crazy. So you're doing one of those 4 things. Top of the deck, one or more in any order. Top of the deck, randomly choose a card from inventory, card from the Battledome, and the discard. And they're going into a random stolen pile. These cards are playable. So on your turn, if you have not played a card for turn, you can play one of the stolen cards on your turn. Or if it's food, you can play it whenever food is able to be played. So, great card. Great mechanic. If you're the one stealing. If you're not the one stealing, sad day. So on theme of stealing, we're playing the best thief ever, Kenrick Master Thief. So he does everything the Shouty Prowler does, and more. So he does 5 things. Choose one or more of them. You're probably going to choose all 5. Do them in any order. Again, set on the top card of your deck, stealing a card in their discard, randomly stealing a card from their inventory, stealing a card from their Battledome area, then search their deck and steal a card. What? You get to steal anything from your opponent's deck. That is crazy, 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 crazy. Like, that is bonkers. So, you steal anything from their deck. So you can steal things that will like benefit you, things that will harm your opponent. You can start stealing all their really big meta win con cards. And then to make Cameron even better, his last effect says, then you may play 1 stolen card ignoring its level requirement. Which is crazy because it's already a level 5. So the only reason why that last part would be in here is if you can cheat him out earlier. But because he says with a level requirement, again, it cannot be fairies, heroes, villains, the paintbrushes, pets, codestones. You cannot play codestones at all. So when I was like, oh, you can play a card per turn, codestones can never be played even if you stole them. So if your stolen pile is all codestones, that sucks. So you then can play 1 card from your stolen pile. And notice how it says you play 1 card you have stolen, which means this effect steals 5 cards, right? Let's say you played her and you stole 4 more cards. You now have 9 cards total. You can play any of the 9 cards. You don't have to play from the cards that you stole with him. You can play a previously stolen card. So, busted. So broken, so broken. Man, this format is going to be very interesting with all of these stealing effects. So that was the Thieves Guild. Now we're on to our faction, the Awakened. So we have 2 of the Grumpy Mummies. I showed this card off earlier. All of the Awakened cards have the effect, when this card is exhumed, deal blank damage. So with Grumpy Mummy, you're dealing 1 damage to your opponent's Neopet. When you play this card, this says bury the top card of your deck, then exhume up to 1 card in your discard. The last thing it will do is when this card is sent to the discard, you bury it. So most of the Awakened factions all have that similar effect. Zombie Hooligan, the exact same thing, except for exhuming and burying 2. Instead of burying 1 and exhuming 1, you are then burying the top 2 cards and exhuming 2 cards. Still doing 1 damage. And then the Ghostly Knight is doing the exact same thing, except for it's burying the top 3 cards and exhuming up to 3. Oh, I don't think I specified. So when it says exhuming up to 3, you can choose any number between 0, 1, 2, 3. So Grumpy Mummy, you exhume 1, you exhume up to 1, which means you don't have to exhume if you don't want to. The reason you might want to do that is because, again, buried cards are safe. So maybe if you have one of these really cool cards in your Exhume pile, you don't want to expose it by having it flipped up so your opponent can steal it or interact with your discard. So the buried pile is kind of a place that can't be stolen from, which is nice. Next, we have 2 of the Unchained Monster. This is the level 4 faction card. One says bury the top 4 cards of your deck, then exhume up to 4 cards in your discard. This will also get buried once it sends itself to the discard. And when it gets exhumed, it will deal 1 damage. Our last cards are Lanny and Lily. These ones say when this card is exhumed, you deal 2 damage to your opponent's Neopet. So everything before it, 1, 2, 3, 4, the levels 1, 2, 3, and 4 only deal 1 damage. Lanny and Lily deal 2 damage. But when you play it, it says exhume all cards in your discard. For each card exhumed this way, deal 1 damage to your opponent's Neopet. Again, maybe reason why you don't want to exhume the full amount with these, maybe you want to only exhume 1 or 0, is because once you play your Lanny and Lily, every buried card that gets exhumed, which will be all of them, you deal damage to your opponent's Neopet. It's bonkers. It's so crazy. But it is level 5, which makes sense. You do kind of have to, there's a lot of work you have to go to actually pull it off. But when you do, chef kiss. So cool. It's so amazing. And that is the reason why I have death in here. If on turn 4, you can play death, where you bury all the cards in both yours and your opponent's discard. Then your next round, turn 5, you Lanny and Lily, boom, you basically just won the game. You're doing crazy, crazy amounts of damage. And yeah, so Lanny and Lily, pretty good, pretty good. Honestly, this whole deck is really fun. It's a lot of comboing, right? A lot of things to interact with your discard, with your buried pile, things that are being added, things that are being played. It's a lot of fun. So this is my first War for the Obelisk deck profile. I'm so excited for this set. It looks so much fun, and it has already been a lot of fun with all the games that I've been playing. I can't wait to get more games in and play more of the faction cards. So I'm curious, what faction are you most interested in? And which one should I do next? Well, until the next one, bye.